Hello everybody and welcome to the IFSC European Youth Bouldering Championships of 2025. We are live from the beautiful venue of Aerobia Climbing in the commune of Curno in the province of Bergamo. Climbers compete here across 3 age categories, under 17, under 19 and under 21, and we are about to introduce the under 17 category finals. This is a one-off competition in the IFSC 2025 calendar, and we will crown the European Youth Champions of the bouldering discipline in these 3 age categories. This competition takes place over 4 days. Thursday the 15th and Friday the 16th of May, we saw the qualification rounds, where 388 athletes descended on Aerobia here in Bergamo to battle it out across 36 qualification boulders, 12 per category. Yesterday, Saturday the 17th of May, we had the semi-final phase of each of these categories, in which the top 24 athletes from the qualification rounds were put to the test on 4 boulders for a place in today's finals. Today the athletes each have 4 boulders to solve, again in the 4-minute time period. Prior to the start of these finals, the athletes have made use of an observation period during which they could make potential visualizations of methods for the boulders and also have direct contact with the starting handholds. I'm James Blay of Appiano Distribution Studio. We are the technical sponsor of this competition, and I'm joined by Alex Fry from the UK. Alex is an experienced national route setter, and he's also the owner of Hardwood Holds. Welcome, Alex.
Hi, James. Good to be here.
So we're going to have a period of time just prior to Simone Reina making the live introductions of the athletes, where I can let you know that the under-17 women category saw 80 athletes from 29 countries join us here at Aerobia in the qualification phase, and that has been boiled down to 8 athletes covering 5 countries. And from the men, there were 73 athletes competing at the start of this competition in the qualification phase, and from 25 different countries. That has again been boiled down to athletes from 5 countries, and of course 8 individuals progressing from the semi-finals only. We have quite a strong German contingent in the women's category. 4 German women managed to qualify from the 4 that entered the competition. And then we have 1 Ukrainian athlete of 3, we have 1 Slovakian athlete from 5, we have an Austrian athlete of 3, and we have a Czech athlete from 3 who entered. And for the men, we have a strong contingent of Israeli males. 3 of the 5 Israeli gentlemen that started this competition at the qualification phase qualified here for today's finals. And then we have a gentleman from Switzerland, a gentleman from Austria, 2 from France of the 4 that entered at the qualification phase, and 1 individual from Great Britain. We're just seeing some visuals from Aerobia here inside one of the significant bouldering parts of the gym, and we will watch the boulders as they progress from the right hand side of this wall to the left, and then just off screen for the final boulder, which is on a different structure. The Aerobia gym takes its name from the Parco Regionale dell'Aerobia Bergamasche, or the Bergamasque Alps in English. This is an alpine mountain range named after Bergamo, with 32 peaks, 9 passes, lakes, valleys, waterfalls, and skiing. It's a beautiful area, and I can't recommend that you visit enough. So Simone is ready to offer us an introduction to these athletes. He is just stepping out onto the mats as I speak, and so we will hand over to Simone for him to make the introductions of these 2 fields of male and female athletes in the under-17 category.
Wait, we are missing some athletes. Il bello della diretta, come si dice in italiano. So luckily they stopped me before to start. ladies and gentlemen, now here we are at the final moment for that European Youth Championships. This morning we have celebrated the under 19 and the under 21 category, and now we are going to finish with the under 17, the youngest but probably the brightest future of our sport. Before to start the presentation of the athlete, I just want to say thank you to everybody, to EFC, Curno, Eurovia, and all the staff that work for the organization of this event. So let's go on with the introduction of the athletes. First athletes for the female category, already a finalist in the European Youth Cup, representing Germany, Ida Stapelberg. The next athlete have already won 2 times the golden medal in the European Youth Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Ukraine, Rafael Kazbekova. And here we are with another gold medalist in the European Cup environment and already European Youth Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Germany, Olivia Hirsmacher. Another athletes that have been already 2 times a finalist in European Cup environment. Again, representing Germany, Alisa Strigo. And now here we are at the end of the trilogy for the German national climbing team. Ladies and gentlemen, another finalist in the European Cup. Please welcome in the stadium, Paula Meyer-Borfelder. And now we are with the next athlete, already bronze medalist in European Cup environment. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Slovenia, Eva Sklerk. Then the next athlete, already 2-time gold medalist winner and vice European champion. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Austria, Jakoba Rauter. And then now we are with the last aka the best of the semi-final round. Just a 4th place in the European Cup environment, looking for her first podium. Ladies and gentlemen, from Czech Republic, Adela Botanska. So let's go on with the male category. First athletes, already 2-time a finalist in European Youth Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Great Britain, Aber Seikaman. Next athlete, already 2-time silver medalist in European Youth Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, representing France, Evan Levanier. Next athlete, already finalist in Sarah 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Israel, Mati Aziz. Next athlete at his 3rd final in the European Cup environment. Ladies and gentlemen, representing France, Aristide Marie Alepart. Next athlete, already bronze medalist in the European Cup environment and the European Youth Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Israel, Itmar Arel. And now here we are with his teammate, ladies and gentlemen, vice European champion from Israel, Mayan Bauer. Next athlete, already gold medalist in the European Youth Cup environment and bronze medalist at the European Youth Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Austria, Adrian Catan. And the last aka the best, ladies and gentlemen, 2-time bronze medalist, European Cup environment. Ladies and gentlemen, from Switzerland, Moreno Gilardi. And so, ladies and gentlemen, now here we are, athletes. This is your audience. Audience, present yourself to the athletes. Thank you, guys. Girls, you can back to the ISO.
So as the athletes disappear off into ISO, they have had the opportunity to inspect these boulders together as a group across an 8-minute time window, but now they can't watch each other compete on these boulders, so they won't have direct insights of each other's different methods on the boulders, how they might adapt during the 4 minutes that they each get. Again,
we will start in a few minutes for the last final that close this European Youth Championships Curno 2025.
so Alex and I are back with you after that exuberant introduction from Simone Reina live here at Arobia in Bergamo. And we've just, we are outside of this climbing room and we are off in a side room, and we could hear the roars from the French and Italian and Israeli teams and coaches and spectators for the athletes as they were introduced. And we're just going to take a look, or a detailed look actually, in the time that we have at the boulders from right to left. So here we are with men's 1 in front of us, combination of blocks, wooden volumes, and some unit designed blocks, wooden volumes, and some unit macros, and then small screw-ons to complete the boulder, finishing with that what might be a heartbreaking top hold. Well, you can't really call it a hold, can you? It's literally a euro or a €2 coin underneath your thumb. So that could be a very interesting finale to this boulder. So Alex, what have you observed on this boulder as we looked at that in person?
Well, it looks like a very physical slab. Hard move into sort of double shoulders, which looks awkward to leave, over to the zone. And then the end of this, it looks to me like you need to go perhaps down quite low with the right hand. I think the hold just to the right of the zone hold on the volume is potentially a hand hold to allow you to move your feet in order to be able to match that finishing hold, possibly helping you to leave a toe hook or a heel hook on one of those, the right hand of the double shoulders holds. So I'm not sure. So yeah, it looks like it's a slab, but as slabs go, pretty physical.
Okay.
Quite a lot of pushing and pulling, not just standing on your feet. Until you get to the finish, of course, in which case, and for that move, it looks like you do have to completely stand on your feet.
Yeah, surely you'll have to have 99.9% of your weight through your feet. You can't take much on that thumb catch, can you? It'll be very interesting to see how tentative it is for these athletes to close this boulder, men's 1. And so, yeah, the boulder is composed of blocks, manufactured volumes designed by unit, and the macros are all unit Blade Runner macros. And then we have some very small screw-ons to complete the boulder. And then we could have a look at women's 1 to the left of this boulder. And we might have time now to progress through all of these boulders. So yeah, women's 1 coming up now. And again, you see wooden volumes on the wall from blocks and from Artline, comprising a slab boulder for the women to start with, from moving from right to left across the wall. What are your observations about this one, Alex?
Well, for all the people who say we don't have enough crimps in competition climbing, perhaps be careful what you ask for. This one has got some particularly vicious looking crimps on it. The one hold that looks like a reasonable hold is actually the zone hold, but on the underside of the volume, and looks like quite a difficult move out of that, and what essentially looks to me like just some really hard crimping, two-finger crimping on a sort of a cluster of screw-ons that is all bunched together to be able to make the move towards the finishing hold. So yeah, this looks also, again, it's a slab, but does look like it's got a bit of physicality to it, perhaps with a lot of that physicality being in the fingers.
Yeah, to me, this one seems a little bit trickier than the men's to read, but we'll see how the athletes progress on this. And those crimps that we're focusing in on now do look particularly poor, but I can see from the photos I've taken prior to us disappearing backstage to commentate, yeah, I can see what you mean. The zone is a little bit better, so it maybe gives them a little pause in the center of the boulder before they have to progress on up to the top. Wonderful. Okay, so that's women's 1. We will try to progress to the next boulder across the wall, which is this men's 2 in front of us, composed of green starting hold, wooden volumes at the base of the climb, and then into these pink E-space macros which are placed throughout the wall, one of which you actually use as the penultimate hold before you take the, potentially, if you flash, the full 25 points to matching that green hold. So yeah, what are your observations on this one?
So this looks to me like it might be a start where the competitors are running onto the wall to get established. The starting handhold is at a height that I'm confident I'd be able to reach off the floor, but with the height of the footholds, whether they're going to try and sort of half jump on or just run on, and perhaps a toe hook under the left hand of those E-space macros to get established in the start position, and then I think perhaps quite a dynamic movement out of it, possibly going all the way across to sort of jump to those two things. Although maybe it's possible to go slow. I will say that on these boulders we haven't actually had a chance to talk to the route setters at all about the sequences, so this is essentially James and I reading it from what we've seen on the wall.
Yeah, no physical experience.
Yeah.
Interesting cluster, maybe a frustrating cluster for the zone. I don't know whether it'd be immediately obvious how to take that, but if the right hand 3 of those screw-ons is a reasonable edge on top of it, then I would imagine it'll be quite a direct catch for most people, but yeah, that remains to be seen.
I suspect that the reason that zone has been blocked quite a lot is to stop you from turning it round to use it as an undercut, which is going to sort of force the next bit of the sequence across the wall.
Okay, I understand. Yep, that makes sense. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Alex. Let's progress to women's 2. That was men's 2. And we will look at women's 2 next, which will be this red boulder hugging the prow, made up of outline wooden volumes and blocks red macros. So starting with, this looks complicated to me. But having said that, are we starting in a double undercut here, Alex, and then with 2 feet low?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And we've got our first athletes coming out now.
Yeah, maybe we haven't got time to analyse that boulder. Let's focus in on men's 1, women's 1, as Javier Sekiam from Great Britain enters the mats to give men's 1 its first attention. And then we have Ida Stapelberg from Germany, first of 4 female athletes to qualify for Germany for this finals, made up of only 8 competitors. So 50% German field here. Pretty strong showing from them.
So Javier making great progress here, straight into the zone. And so this is the section where, yeah, I wondered whether he was going to have to sort of do a heel hook or a toe hook over, but no, it doesn't seem to need it. Step straight through. Setting up for the finish. Can he match it?
Oh wow, he's managed. Yeah, he's managed without a problem. Yeah, I thought that might take more than one attempt, especially looking at how easily he's climbed, or how relatively easily he's made that boulder look.
Yeah,
but no,
strong start from Javier.
Absolutely, flash of men's 1. Excellent work. This is where the route setters are biting their nails a little bit, wondering if they've undercooked it, but we you can't say that for sure. Maybe Javier's just a bit of a demon on a slab. Excellent work from him. So we'll focus in on Ida as she tries to get to grips with the start of this women's first final boulder. Big crowd now gathered here at Arobia Climbing in Bergamo for this finals. Great timing. It's 2:30 in the afternoon here on this Sunday the 18th of May. Conditions in the gym are fairly cool relative to the potential heat from the Italian sun. We've got big open space, a lot of natural light coming in, and yeah, pretty good climbing conditions for these competitors.
So Ida setting up in this first move again. Yeah, and can she get over to these two holds?
They look diabolical.
It looks like the left-hand one is a little bit better.
Okay.
It's kind of slightly triangular, but with the widest point at the top. So it's a side pull, but with a very slight bias in an undercut direction, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, it does.
But then it looks like she's going to have to bring the right hand in next to it, and that basically just looks like a really bad two-finger crimp. So can she get established on this next hold? Okay, yeah, she's got hold of it, and she's opting basically to pinch it. So I think she's pinching that between a thumb and a forefinger, okay, and then she's into that next crimp. Can she score the zone?
Oh, it's a tense moment for her. It's within reach, but yeah, she's just wobbled off there. I mean, for me, part of the difficulty of this section of the boulder is reading how to take that hold. You know, I mean, even though there's not so much space on it, you're not exposing much hold to your fingertips. However you take it, you have many options with which you could take it underneath your fingertips or wrap it with one of your fingers. It does seem like a very difficult thing to read, and until you gain some experience, or in fact find a way that works for you, you could throw a lot of attempts just at that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a boulder for what we call the micro beater. I think the hand sequence is maybe relatively obvious, but the subtlety of exactly how you hold the holds is something they might just have to get on the boulder and figure it out. So a quick replay of this flash from Javier. Strong start to his competition, so it'll be interesting to see what the next male athlete is going to do.
We need another climber to put Javier's ascent into perspective, don't we? I mean, that was really impressive, and it could only be highlighted through the attempts of other competitors. I mean, if we see them all flash this boulder, then yeah, we will know that the level is maybe a little bit on the soft side, but let's see if we see other athletes even throw a number of attempts at it. You know, Javier's flash there is going to look incredible. It's just hard without that perspective. Let's see. So, welcoming out onto the mats now, our second competitors. We will have... Who will we have? We will have Evan Lemanja from France. And in the women's category, we'll have Rafael Kazbakova from Ukraine.
So Evan, possibly a false start there. I saw the judge step in, but so that is an attempt. Rafael straight into this sort of two crimps section, trying to get set up to move towards the zone hold. Potentially quite hard to see that zone hold from where she is. We can, because of the camera angle, we can see it quite clearly, but for her it will be round the other side of that volume and might be a bit blind.
Oh, and she's off, yep. Thought she was going to find that right toe hold for a moment there, and that would give her a little bit more opposition for her hands and give her a bit more stability, but it just seemed to nudge her off in the wrong direction. And she's going to have to take a pause.
Evan brushing these holes, so he did get established in the double shoulders briefly, but then fell off trying to transition out of them. So yeah, this boulder not looking quite so easy this time around.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing work from Javier.
Okay, back with Rafael from Ukraine, trying to establish those two hands in this very tight space and maintain balance while she moves out left. Yeah, she's choosing to place the heel of her hand down now for a bit more balance. And that right foot just does not seem to be doing her any favours. So yeah, she's opting to match feet, and she's made it to the zone excellently. Okay, so this attempt's looking really good. You know, she's in probably the most secure position of the boulder so far for her. She's got to move up out of that into this cluster of screw-ons, and again, another sort of conglomerate of maybe 4 screw-on holds together, leaving some very obscure angles for you to select the best way to make contact with.
Yeah, and Evan falling off a little bit further along the boulder, so he's making good progress each time, and was looking to set up a little bit closer to the way that I potentially read this boulder, with having to keep the right foot on the small foothold on that first volume and bringing his left heel up to the side pull.
Okay, 50 seconds left. 50 seconds left on the clock. And change.
Yeah, and
Yeah, again. So we've got two clusters of poor holds, which don't present themselves in a very easy way to take underneath your fingertips here in this women's opening slab boulder. So it is as much about how you take those holds as it is how you stand on your feet on these very poor, very flat, very shallow volumes that sort of make up the feet of the climb.
yeah, really tenuous move. You can see how slowly she's moving. Not able to just, you know, like throw herself quickly through the movement at all. Evan has 14 seconds left, so can he get a top on this?
Top of this boulder, yeah, top of this boulder, potentially not something you want to rush.
Yeah,
Yeah, 5 seconds approaches. I think he did rush that a little bit, knowing that he had very little time left. So, Evan Lemanger, number 159, is returning with a zone from the first boulder on his third attempt. So 9.8 for him, compared to Javier's full 25 points for his flash on the first boulder. And we will now get a look at Javier on the second boulder. We will get a look at Ida Stapelberg from Germany on the second women's boulder. And now we are welcoming to the mats Olivia Kistmacher from Germany, our second German lady out onto the mats. And we will also welcome Mati Azizi from Israel, one of 3 Israeli gentlemen to make this under-17 finals, and he is progressing beautifully on this.
yeah, setting up for this move. So is he going to have to keep the right foot there, or is he going to? Okay, he's
Stepping out wide,
all the way wide. I think, yeah, it looks like that's leaving him a little bit short.
Could he make it work? He's got enough of that volume, I feel.
Oh, yeah.
Nice work, and he's bringing the toe into match, but just not finding it underneath his foot as he would like, and just powering up off the shoulder instead. So, okay, he's made excellent progress in this upper section of the boulder as he looks to top it. This being his flash attempt, so he could match Javier for score here. Just overbalancing.
Yeah, keeping us on edge. No, that's the second time of setting up for it. Looks like he's struggling to find the balance. He needs to do something with his left foot, perhaps.
No need to rush this, though. He has 2 minutes 30 seconds and change on the clock, and he's managed the match.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Just takes the top of the wall to have a moment of respite and celebrate before he drops down to the mats.
Yeah.
That's great from him. So we've got 2 competitors at the top of the male fields with flashes of boulder number 1. And one of those competitors is still with us here in this 4-minute time period, and that is Javier Sekiam from Great Britain, as he starts to get to grips with these moves on men's 2. Now sort of losing his foot there as he tried to jump out leftwards. We haven't seen any early attempts on this. He doesn't have a zone scored yet, so he's not been higher into this boulder or as high as those green holds are out left.
He did manage to, he sort of set up for the jump across on his first go. His first go looked a little bit better, but he did manage to secure it, but this time he has.
Excellent.
So, setting up for the zone.
My right foot.
Yeah.
And really pulling in with his right arm.
Okay.
And that looked promising, but it seemed like his foot blew. And I thought that foothold, the small green foothold below the pink volume, which he's brushing now, I thought that was positive, but it actually just looks like a smeary sort of dome for your right foot. So yeah, disappointing for Javier there. He's only got 1 minute and 20 left. He's going to want to get on fairly soon and give that boulder another go so that he has time.
Yeah, he was 1 move away from the zone then, so even if you can just get back on and score the zone, that's a significant score and make a difference to his end result.
Okay, it's almost like he's listening to you. He's back on the wall, and that was excellent. It was sort of like fast and then slow, but unfortunately he didn't manage to slow down the momentum enough with the right hand, and his sort of right hand peeled off that that pink volume in the middle of the wall, but he's back on again with 40 seconds to spare. Let's see if he can make it count and he's not maintaining contact, is he?
He's just losing the right hand at the end. That could be the right arm getting a bit tired. It's a lot for the right arm to do to reel in that swing, because at the end of the swing his feet are going a long way left. Yeah, you can see how hard that right arm has to work to really arrest all of the movement of that swing.
If he has a moment of pause on that, but it's very momentary, and it can only be a fraction of a second that he was sort of visibly in control before he peeled off leftwards.
So a quick replay of the second flash on men's number 1, although this one was he was nearly off several times before making that. So certainly making the end of the boulder look quite tricky.
So let's introduce our 4th competitors in this under-17s final here at Orobia in Bergamo. We have Alicia Stringo from Germany, and we have Artisti Alepartes from France.
So this is our second look at men's 2. And we can see that run on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right with that. You know, needing or making use of that momentum to get high on the right starting handhold.
So what Javier was doing was actually running just onto the right foot with his right foot flagging on the wall and then moving his feet across. And the athletes can do that. They can use any combination of the starting holds to get into the start position, provided they don't use any holds that aren't marked with start tape. So we've got Aristide on his, I think that was his first go on the slab. Secured the zone, but was then off.
Yeah, absolutely right. Zone on his first attempt. Which gives him 10 points.
And Elisa on women's number 1. The women are struggling with boulder number 1.
Yep. No top so far, just a zone for the Ukrainian athlete, Rafael Zapakova, who we are with now on women's 2. She's looking good here.
Yeah, and this boulder looked to me like very much like a sort of a Fontainebleau style boulder. Steep compression of predominantly rounded holds with a crimp thrown in for good measure.
Oh, nice. Like that description. And Evan Lemanger from France making the first top on men's 2. And I hope we get another look at that in due course, because, you know, he looked particularly energetic through those moves in the top, and that must have been something to behold. Yeah, alongside one another there, men's 2 and women's 2. But men's 2 just obscured from our view, as we see how many people have gathered here to support these athletes in this finals. We're back on women's 1 here with the German athlete Alicia Stringo. She has 1 minute 25 left, and she's not finding that cluster with her left hand. Okay, you can see the fight there. You're absolutely right with your description. It's an incredibly physical moment in the boulder there to get over right, and then now you need to apply some delicate footwork, and you're left with a very poor undercut underneath your right hand fingertips. And the top half of that hold is completely smooth, so you don't get much opposition with your thumb. And actually the dual texture sort of runs around into the contact area of the hold as well a little bit. So those holds, I don't particularly like them. they're awful under the fingertips. They're really small. I mean, they are very positive, but they're somewhat disappointing for how positive they are.
Yeah, I mean, the route setters like them because, you know, ultimately what we want is directional holds.
Yep.
So you can pull on one side of it and it's really hard to use the other side of it.
Okay.
So
yeah,
in
this case, you're not left with something good for your foot.
Yeah, so for creating movement, they work really well.
Nice.
So let's see if...
This is really tight now, isn't it? 15 seconds left. He has got to do some quick work here and find a new sequence. And yeah, he's choosing to step out wide, which has worked. But he's going to have to engage that shoulder. And yeah, the buzzer makes him rush a little bit. And we are out of time.
Yeah, so far, men's 1 looking like you can either do it on your first attempt or not at all. So we'll see what the next athlete can do. As we get a quick replay of men's 2. Yeah, little double out rightwards. Beautiful. And then the match.
Great stuff. Yeah, he's very pleased with that ascent. And so we welcome out Itamar Harel from Israel to tackle with men's 1. And we welcome Paula Meyer-Vorfelder from Germany to tackle women's 1. As we see the first athletes out onto the mats who qualified in 8th position, out on the far left of our screens, making the first attempts on boulders 3.
Yeah, so Javier in the steep, in the roof. So this this boulder has got like a couple of holes screwed on the underside of that big black volume. He's making good progress, and also on women's 1. I speak too soon. I thought we were about to see the competitor score the zone.
So back with Ida Stapelberg here on these contact macros, and she's going to find a top here by the looks of things. See if she can find a way to control
perhaps a knee
the
bar.
match. Yeah, there's potentially a couple of options, isn't there? But yeah, she's made it work beautifully. So she's kept her feet low, managed to engage the right shoulder, and then come in with the left hand to control the top. And that's great work from her. I'm confident that was a flash.
Itamar setting up for this final move. So I've seen it work this way once, but it does leave you really low. Okay, so he's opting to try and match the zone.
Yeah, Paula looking good here, and she's moving with massive amounts of control up to that second cluster of awkward holds, and she's managed to match it. So 2 hand movements remain. She's got to make her way to the final hold, and she's got to match it, and she's got to find a good body position to do it, and she does. Yeah, that looked very comfortable from her in comparison to the other athletes. She seemed to have lots of margin to play with, which allowed her the control that was necessary to move to those clusters of holds and find the right way to hold them. And Javier powering up round the lip of this steep boulder, the steepest boulder on the wall for men here.
Yeah, and that is quite a good hold that he was going for, but it is at an angle, and it's quite a powerful twisting movement to grab hold of it.
Oh, it's at a great angle, isn't it? It's very, very inclinated downwards. So if that hold was flat and screwed on flat, you'd have a big edge to play with. But ultimately, the way the hold's screwed on, it's giving you a sort of shouldery Gaston type crimp.
Yeah, it's what we'd probably call describe as a mini jug or a finger jug. But yeah, the angle of it and the movement that you have to make towards it, I think, is what creates the difficulty. Okay, so this is the method that Javier used. He's not quite able to make it work.
So we have
3 male athletes remaining on the wall.
2 from Israel, 1 from Great Britain, as we watch the British athlete pull onto the wall now for what might be his last solid attempt on this steep boulder. Yeah, he's got 30 seconds left, Alex. I don't know if that's enough to work with for such a physical boulder. He could do with a breather, couldn't he, before he pulls on again, and he's just not got the luxury of the time.
Yeah, there's quite a lot to do in that time that's left, but it is enough that's left for the slab.
Itamar Harel here, stepping through with his left foot now. Can he? Oh, he could make this work. Come on.
5 seconds. Okay, he's going to find the balance fast on this.
Has that been awarded?
Oh, I don't know. We shall see.
He's shaking his head. He doesn't think it was enough. I mean, there was a couple of seconds of control there, but I don't know whether you would count that as control.
Yeah, never shake your head when you fall off a dubious match. Always look confident.
Yeah, should be celebrating it, yeah. Just like a fighter at the end of a fight. If you're not sure whether you've won, you should damn well celebrate it like you have. It might be enough to sway the judges, but, you know, he's a young athlete. He's maybe not as wily as our under-21s. Yeah, this under-17 category. Looking fierce, though. Great competition so far. And we have Ida Stapleberg's flash there, so she hasn't been successful in securing the zone on either of the previous boulders, but with her flash it puts her on 25 points, and for the moment she is at the top of the women's leaderboard. So now we are welcoming the 7th athletes onto the mats. We have Eva Skrlec from Slovenia on women's 1, and we have Mayan Bauer from Israel on men's 1. Mayan going pretty well.
Yeah, good progress on this slab.
Yep, doesn't look like he's struggling physically. His body language says these movements and these positions are well within his comfort zone at the moment.
Again, opting for that, keeping that left foot quite low. But I think it's going to leave him too short.
Okay, really adapting on the fly now. Ah, wow.
Okay, and this is the right
That's nice.
palm back down to be able to move the feet.
Not so much to play with the left hand, is there? So it would really be an all-out press with your right hand to maintain your body height there. I'm not sure about that method. I wouldn't fancy trying it myself, but he was doing some good work catching his left foot, sort of dragging it on the 2 volumes, but wasn't sure whether to press out with the left toe or to sort of pull in with the left toe.
Meanwhile, Rafi's top boulder number 3 and has already returned to isolation.
Wow.
So that's
Back gambol from Aristide as he dismounts men's 3. He's had 2 attempts and now he's giving it a brush as Mayan Bauer tries to make his way towards the top of men's 1 with 1:45 left on the clock. Okay,
yeah.
same position as before. Can he get that palm in greater control? Ah, wow, he's got tension through the back and he's done that with some serious control.
And I suspect that is the sequence that the route setters were hoping for.
Yeah, I think you're right. You'd spotted that chalk on the palm before. Let's see if he can close it in good fashion, really fighting with his thumb to get his nail under that hold.
There we go. Oh, that's it.
Oh, nice, and his left leg's going.
Yeah, the sewing machine leg, but
yeah, is that
to make it work?
That is a nerve-wracking action. If you get your leg just in the right position, you start to tremble.
Yeah, maybe his leg was nervous.
Just his leg.
Yeah.
All the other points of contact were in
Well, there was a lot riding on that
relative
leg.
comfort. Yeah.
Had a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and he'd already done some good work on that boulder. He'd already been up towards that position in 2 previous occasions, so good to see him close that in good time, earn himself a bit more rest as we look at Eva here on the first women's boulder.
Okay, and this is a sort of first proper look really at the start of men's 3. So quite a powerful sequence involving, you know, a lot of footwork with heel hooks, toe hooks, and a bit of a cross through to a good hold that's hidden around the back of that. So still awaiting a top, that boulder.
Yeah, it's a physical boulder in a very steep section, isn't it? So none of the athletes unlocking the sequence yet and applying the physicality in the right way to top it. Though we saw some good progress from Javier early on, and he secured a zone. So he's on 1 top and 1 zone from 3 boulders. But in the leaderboard at present, he has been topped by Ivan Lemanger with 44.4, facing Javier's 35. And then we have Abdiaziz, 34.3. So we're just catching a replay of this top from Mayan Bauer, which already puts him on 24.8 points after boulder number 1. So he's well in contention.
As we return to the wall, we have athletes on all 4 boulders now for the first time.
So we welcome Jakoba Rauter from Austria to women's 1, and we welcome Adrian Kathan from Austria to men's 1. As one of the German athletes, Olivia Kaschmacher, makes her way towards the top of women's 3.
Oh, there's that knee bar.
That's a knee bar and a very comfortable top. That was performed in very quick fashion. There wasn't any doubt for her, was there?
No. It'd be interesting to see we haven't really had a good shot of the first move of that boulder.
Yep.
Looked to me like a jump that possibly had a few options for how you might do it, but trying to read from the chalk that was on the boulders, perhaps going with two hands, with the left hand to an undercut and right hand onto the top of the wooden volume, and then landing the foot onto the small triangular volume beneath.
So we're just going to go to this sort of mainframe view, giving you a good look at women's 4, the first good look at women's 4 now, whilst we have action on men's 1 top left, women's 1 in the centre, and men's 4. And now as we switch the views, we have men's 1 back in front of us here on the main screen as the penultimate athlete to join us.
With the number 1 for Adria Catana.
So opting for the step-through method.
With the number 2 for
Okay, now
Ismar
setting up for the
Arel.
finish.
Come on,
This is
Ismar.
it's a good attempt from Adrian.
Looks like he's on his flash attempt here, so he could be matching some of the early guys to come out with a flash of this boulder. Oh, and he's just lost the hand. Yeah, just as he was going in for the match, his right hand seemed to pop.
Commentator's curse.
Yep, that's all your fault, Mr. Fry.
You said it.
No. We're going to need a replay of that for our benefit.
Yeah.
So, I would be pleased to see what's happening on the 4th boulder for the women out far left. As we look at, on the extreme left of the wall, we watch Javier swing and catch. That next cluster of holds to the right on men's 4.
So that's him through that first coordination section. Setting up for the top. It's got a minute left on the clock. And then we've got a volume up here with quite a lot of holds screwed on around it. That volume actually goes for a very slight angle change in the wall, so I'm pretty sure that the hold above it and the 2 holds below it are basically just blockers to cover the gaps as the volume covers an angle change.
Oh, that makes sense. Yep, so you could read that as a confusing amount of holds, or maybe 3 potential different options to catch the upper section, but actually, if that's accurate, then Javier's probably already honed in on the exact one that he should be using. And we're going to see this athlete have another attempt on the final section of this. Adrian Cathan here making a confident top on that occasion. And we hear a roar, a gasp of the crowd as the Israeli athlete Itamar Harel just fails to close men's 2. So he's walking away with a zone after his first attempt, but no top for him. So he still resides in 6th. Okay, the sound of the buzzer in the background there signifies the entrance of our final athletes to this finals of the under-17 category. These are the athletes that qualified in first, of course, from the semi-finals. We have Moreno Giliardi from Switzerland, and we have Adela Bodanaska from Czech Republic.
It's a good look at the dynamic movement, and we'll start men's 2 there. Not quite making the distance.
Well, choose who you want to watch. We've got 5 athletes now on the wall making great progress on all of their boulders. On the far side, we have the 2 athletes that qualified in first place for the men's and women's field respectively on the right-hand sides of your screen, and they were both in contact with the wall up until the moment just then, as Moreno Giliardi fell from her boulder.
So we've got a potential top here on women's number 3.
Oh wow, different methodology with the feet again. So we had a right toe and a left toe hook this time, and that was enough for her to secure the top. So this boulder is getting quite a few cents, and now we've seen our first top of women's 4 by the Ukrainian athlete
Rafael Kazbekova. So currently sitting in first place, but several athletes to come.
So Rafael has 2 flashes to her name on boulders 3 and 4, and 2 zones. As we watch Mayan Bauer make another top on men's 2. He's awfully pleased with that. Slapping the wall before he dismounts.
We are yet to see the top on women's number 3. So that's the boulders to watch for. Oh, no, my mistake. We have had a flash from Ida.
So it's women's 2 that has not been topped so
Sorry,
far.
women's number 2. The
Yeah.
one in the roof. That was the one I was thinking of. I just named it the wrong boulder. So the red and black volumes and macros in the roof. Steep compression boulder.
And for me, that's the one I'd most like to see a top on. Not just because it's not been topped, but that line of holds in that hanging arete is always something that's eye-catching and appealing. And for us, from here, those black wooden volumes make it very hard to see what's happening in that section of the wall, what the athletes might hold. So we'd like to see a bit more attention in that area. Hopefully we get some of these athletes that have qualified in a stronger position, making more progress in that boulder in due course. So we are back with this female athlete from the Czech Republic on the first boulder, Adela Podanaska, and she's only got 50 seconds left to play with. And after qualifying in first, I'm sure she really wants to lay down a statement. She managed to top all of the women's boulders in the semi-finals of this competition yesterday. And now, as she reaches out leftwards, she's really only got time for one more decent go with 30 seconds remaining. Yet she's struggling with that hold. So we've seen the athletes that manage that just look comfortable. So maybe small holds is not her forte.
Moreno just missing out on being able to go for the finishing hold on that. So clock running down now. I think that's it. The athlete's out of time in this round.
So Adela not finding even the zone on that first boulder. So that was a frustrating start for her to this competition. As we see that technique there with the right toe and the left toe hook. A nice way to top that boulder for her. She fitted that position really well. And now we have a Ukrainian athlete making her top the first of the competition on women's 4, which has put her in first place with 69.8 points. And this is the replay that I was looking for. I haven't seen this movement yet, as I've been checking scores and checking names. So yeah, nice, quite comfortable for him.
So, women's number 3, the German athlete already high up on the boulder, so that's going to be a flash. She can match, yes she can.
Immediately finding the toe hook.
Yeah. Paula doing that on her first go.
Excellent stuff from her. Paula Meyer Vorfelder. Was that a flash for her? And now we have on the women's 3rd boulder, the one that Alex and I would really like to see some action on.
2nd boulder.
We have Jakoba Rauter from Austria. And she has just descended back down to the mats for a reset.
Yeah, you can see those. Well, we'll focus on the men's roof first with Itamar, as he is setting up for this move, because I think we are still awaiting the top on this boulder.
Yep.
This could be it.
Come on, Itamar. Let's see you.
Don't speak too soon.
Yeah.
I wonder if that hold has got something in it.
Yeah, it looks very thin for him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's made it work, though. He's made it work. Because he's just holding that with 2 fingers. Forefinger and middle finger.
Yeah, and it's definitely a hold that does have a bit more space than that, so perhaps the root setters have put something in it. Perhaps he just hasn't caught it very well.
Yep. Yeah.
Can't tell from the floor.
It was obviously, he felt like it was enough under his fingertips to work with, so instead of adjusting, he pushed on and he's made it work. And Itamar takes the first top of... Is that not men's 3?
Yeah, that's men's number 3.
Yeah.
So men's number 3 and women's number 2.
Nice.
Seem to be the boulders in particular to look for. Like a top on those, quite significant. Women's number 2 still to be topped, as we can see the Austrian athlete pulling on now.
Oh, nice. A stop and then a second jump almost. Second generation pounce outright. Matthias Easy looking good here with a top to his name and 3 zones. Got to be trying to look for a close to his competition in style. I mean, he's in first place, but he's one of the few athletes that have already attempted or is in the process of attempting all 4 boulders. He's on 54 points at present. But he has quite a few competitors that will be breathing down his neck in due course.
Yeah, I suspect he's going to be pushed out of that first place, unfortunately.
Yeah, one of those athletes is Adrian Katan from Austria, and he is on men's 2. We're just about to set up for another attempt on men's 2 as we flick back to Matthias Easy here, high on the wall, and he seemed to make the distance for the crimp, and he looked for a left palm to oppose it, but didn't make it stick. And with 20 seconds left, I think he's going to call it.
Yeah, it's a good look at this starting move. Quite a complex starting move on women's number 4. That quite a lot going on. Kind of a lâché into right onto a big ledge, and then with a slopey handhold, which you can use to pull through into a double, into 2 reasonably good holds.
That was quite a low energy go, and I feel like, yeah, that's indicative of being 3.5 minutes into the allotted 4-minute time period. Yeah, that was just sort of a last-ditch effort, but it didn't really look like it had much conviction, so we're not expecting much from that. So we have some new athletes out here to tackle the next boulders in their competition.
Okay, so here's a good look at the first move on women's number 3. Possibly there we go. Okay, so that's over with the right hand and turning the left,
Over the
left to a shoulder.
Looking strong in that.
Get a good view of the men's number 3 in the roof just to the right as well. It's the Israeli athlete setting up for the penultimate move. Oh no, hesitated. So, ever turn this around. That's good hip mobility.
Forcing himself out rightwards, just doesn't get over rightwards enough. Sort of extend the right arm and get into a more comfortable position. So, we have a Czech athlete trying to tackle women's number 2, the red volumes and the black flat wooden volumes that we can see in that prow, and yet she's not making too much progress in that boulder with 2.5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, so the furthest left wooden volumes in that roof essentially form a crack. So the one just to the right, I think, is a foothold, like a heel hook for later on, and the crack has been created such that it's a bit too small to get your foot into properly, and quite a flare crack, so not a crack that you would jam, but more one that you just hold conventionally with your fingertips.
Okay, let's see if she can progress into that part of the climb as she sets up for it now. Wow, just tickling it there. But we've got some good action on the boulder to the left of it. These purple Vesi holds. Yep, Israeli athlete looking good in this position, and we've seen it top from here in the same fashion, and it looks like we might see another top here. So Mayan Brouwer making a top there on men's 3, and that's all 3 boulders topped from him. Excellent work. So that really solidifies his position at the top of the leaderboard as we move into this later stage of the competition.
Yeah, that's quite significant, the top on that boulder. It's going to make him hard to beat.
Yeah, with his next climbing on the 4th boulder, he could actually secure the win. Let's see what he can do. If he managed that, he couldn't be caught. But there's still a lot that could happen. So yeah, just catching a view at that flag move and seeing how much you end up sort of flagging out to the left in that initial jump on this women's boulder. Very powerful start.
Yeah, really cool move to watch.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's really good mobility, this turnaround. Yeah, so she's got one hand on, she needs to find the foot position for the match. There you
Nice.
go, and she's done it.
Excellent.
Well fought, and at the same time, a top on men's number 4.
Wow,
Just
impressive
to the
stuff
right.
on men's number 4. Yeah. Aristide Aleparts from France, excuse me. He's had a tough round so far with only 2 zones and nothing on the second boulder, but he's managed to top the untoppable so far in 6 attempts. And we'll just catch a replay. I'd love to know how he caught that position, but he's made a match on that crimp, and then he's had a good look out and pounced for the top hold, and it didn't look in any doubt once he latched it with his right hand. So yeah, he's got to be pleased to make a top in this finals. And that's bumped him up into 4th place for now with 44.5 points. Like fairly low scoring round, similar to the semi-finals, with Mayan Bauer out front by a good margin, over 20 points at present from his closest competitor, Mati Azizi.
Yeah, Mayan being the only athlete who in the men who could still get 4 tops.
Yeah, let's see how he progresses on number 4 in due course. Aristide has led the way and managed to make a top of that 4th boulder for the men. So, yeah. Well, this top of this boulder now beginning to look like a formality. Women's 3 hard at the start, but then, yeah, it seems like a slightly easier one to close. I'm not saying any of the climbing here is easy though, as we look at this boulder.
Yeah, so that was a slow sort of palm squirm up into that hold as opposed to jumping into the press.
Are we going to see the second top on men's 4?
Wow,
That was a bit of a bit of a fumble there. Looked like he caught the base of the hold he was aiming for with his fingertips first, but he had enough energy in the movement to lock in on it and secure the top.
That's good work from Itamar, and that pushes him up into 2nd place, I believe.
Does indeed. Yeah, 2 tops, 2 zones for him compared to his compatriots, 3 tops. Of course, Mayan is yet to come out and try the 4th, so he doesn't have any score on that. As we have a little look at the leaderboard on the right of our screens now, you can focus in on the athletes you're particularly interested in. As we look at women's 4 here, with the German athlete Paola Meyer-Vorfelder, who already has 2 tops in this competition and a score of 69.6. And she's had an attempt at the top there, but didn't look in danger of holding it, I'm afraid to say. Looked a little bit short on the distance. Looks like you need to make a big extension up and left if you want to catch that hold with any intentions of holding it. But she does have time.
And a top on this boulder, really significant for her. I think that would move her from 2nd place into 1st place. So she essentially has 1 minute and 20 seconds left to win this competition.
That's the first time I've seen anyone playing in the upper section of that boulder, so I feel like if she's moved there with confidence already, and she's got this time now to rest as she just jumps back on with just over a minute remaining, maybe we could see some oh yes, she's got that wired.
Yeah,
Incredible.
Always looks really easy.
Yeah, that
on the times that they do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And near impossible on the times that
Yeah,
they don't.
you're not wrong.
So
Yeah.
can she get this top?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Come on, gain the height. Oh, she's got it.
There we go.
Fantastic. Just off screen, but yeah, she's caught the edge with the left hand and matched it. We saw Gabri putting the penultimate yellow and blue combination of screw-ons on the wall prior to the start of this competition, and it was at his discretion how much hold he should leave available to the underside of these athletes' thumbs. And there was just enough there for her to work with, and she's managed to top the boulder. Yeah, that was great work from her. I mean, after that previous attempt, she managed to execute the start in the same exact fashion.
Adrian running out of time on men's number 3.
So Paula Meyer-Vorfelder with her top leaping up to the primary position in the women's rankings with 84.4. And this young man, Itamar Harel, he is placed in second now with that top. Only to his compatriot Mayan Bauer, who can still put more scores on the board. He sat in first place with 74.5, but he has another boulder to go.
And I have to have someone check my maths, but I think Itamar might be secure in second place. I think, yeah, I don't think he can be beaten.
Yeah, 69.2 Adrian could secure if he flashes the fourth boulder, and that wouldn't be enough to tip Itamar's second place. So it looks like we've got 2 Israeli athletes safe at the top of the leaderboard for the men's competition here in first and second.
Again, the slow move up on that. He just had the side of his palming on that, but wasn't quite able to make it stick. So we watch Adela looking for the match on the top of women's free. She's trying to find the position. Thought she was going to wedge her head underneath.
Yeah, it looked like she used her head for a moment there. Yeah, yeah. Mayan Bauer is effectively fighting to be the only athlete to top all 4 boulders in both the male or female categories. It can't be achieved by anyone else at this stage. Does look a little bit puzzled there with his hands on his hips, staring up at the boulder in the centre of our screens as he chalks up again to pull on. He's got plenty of time, and I feel like if anyone can top this, he can. And we've seen 2 tops already, so we know it's possible. And I'm sure, well, I wish I was down there on the mats, honestly. I wish we were in close proximity to this to feel the atmosphere from the people who are cheering him on to close this boulder right now. We hear the odd echo in our commentary box, but yeah, we hope you are getting a good sense of the atmosphere through the sound here at Aerobia Climbing in Bergamo as we just approach 3:20 here on this Sunday afternoon as these under 17 athletes battle it out across 4 boulders.
That was a great catch from Eva in the zone hold. Hope we'll get a chance to see a bit of a replay of that one.
So it's her turn to fight with this thumb catch and to try and transition the weight. I wonder if she'll see the method to palm down on the hold that she has as a crimp with her right hand right now. She's sinking lower actually, and I don't know how that was going to do her any favours. She sank so low that ultimately she lost her contact with the right crimp and fell from the wall.
Can Maya make this work this time?
Unbelievable, moving so slowly to that position. He even tried to use the base of the volume because that was what was in reach as he moved to that position statically. Yeah, incredibly strong climbing, but I think he really needs to aim for that edge that the other 2 competitors who've topped the boulder have used.
Moreno not quite able to secure that hold on the edge of the lip.
And Eva here really struggling to repeat that start. She just looked a little bit low energy there, but let's see how this attempt looks. Okay. Whoa, it's got to put a lot of stress on that right foot leaping into that position, one-footed, and using the ball of your foot.
Yeah, these athletes looking tired now. They've had a lot of climbing to do. But Mayan's able to stick the coordination move again. So can he? Oh, I thought he was going to hold on to that. I think that's probably the end of his attempts.
That draws his competition to a close, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Can't secure that 4th top.
But fortunately for him, he's already done enough.
Yeah, I wonder if he had that in the back of his mind. It's quite possible, isn't it? We don't know how much information he's taken on board from how the other athletes have done, but he is the only athlete with 2 tops, and with a zone on that, he must know, or he might know, that he can't be caught by either Adrian Catan from Austria or Moreno Gileadi, who are yet to attempt men's 4. So now we have Adrian Catan.
Good look at this coordination move.
Wow.
Quite a lot going on there. Several stages of movement.
Brilliant. Meanwhile, we have Jakoba Rauter here on women's 4. Wow, and she's decided to, from the start, move on to this handhold with both hands, making her a little bit closer to the swing.
Yeah, it looked to me like she was setting up to go all in one and didn't quite get the foot where she wanted, so kind of did an emergency catch and adjusted.
Yeah, saved the attempt and still had the opportunity to try, but yeah, maybe it's not what she hoped for or intended to do. But she's had another go off camera there. She's decided to drop a chalk bag off. Presumably that's maybe a little bit of a hindrance, or perhaps a little bit distracting whilst you're swinging through mid-air and trying to propel your momentum out right. So she sets up now. Oh, nice. That looked promising.
Yeah, a little bit more aerodynamic without that chalk bag.
Yeah. You don't want any drag as you're moving through the air here in Bergamo. So this competition at Aerobia Climbing is billed as being in Curno, but we are actually within the province of Bergamo. So you might know that from Bergamo Airport, which is only a 15-minute drive away. Beautiful area of Italy, surrounded in the north by mountains. And there's a modern town here, close to sea level, and then Bergamo Alta, which is a beautiful old city above the modern part of the city, and I would recommend it for a visit, especially if you're a climber. We've got bouldering areas outdoors, very close at hand. And if the weather's bad, which I have to say it hardly ever is, you've still got the beautiful climbing gym of Aerobia here in Bergamo to enjoy. Nice. Well, that looks strong.
Yeah, just powering it.
Wow, I just noticed the sweat on my fingertips from watching that attempt. It's yeah.
Yeah, it was fully extended then. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that was a fair attempt.
Yeah.
So these volumes, yeah, they really aren't positive at all. They are slopers, and they come to a very thin sort of crescendo at the end or the edge of their profile, and there's only an area like 60% of the width of them in the center of them, and that's where you have texture to use, and the very ends of them are of course that smooth texture. So you have to be quite accurate. You have to apply some accuracy to your attempts on this boulder. You can't just grab without intention and grab without accuracy. It just won't be sufficient.
Jakoba getting a little bit closer every time. So can she
nice.
do this? Yes.
Oh, brilliant. Just caught the ledge of that. Yeah, nice.
So
nice.
she does have time to top this boulder, but this is our last attempt, as we see Adrian also able to stick the second bit. Can he? Oh, and across to the top.
Wow, nice from Adrian.
A match. Right, so that's a top for him.
Wow, this might leave Jakoba a bit stranded here. Unbelievable, unbelievable. I thought there was not a cat in hell's chance that she would make the distance with that right hand on that move. But with the splits in place for stability, she made the distance on the top hold, but unfortunately just didn't close in on that edge sufficiently to hold the last hold. Wow. I mean,
so I suspect that is the method that the route setters wanted. There we go, and the match on the top.
Now Jakoba Rauter from Austria, she qualified in second position with 3 tops and 1 zone, and at present, even with that effort, it's not enough to put her into the top 3 here. So Moreno Gigliardi from Switzerland with 2 zones to his name. Not really got motoring in this competition. Let's see if he can close it with some good effort. Wow, it's incredible to see Adela flash through the start of this boulder.
Yeah, that gives her loads of time to work on this top section. Let's see what she can do.
Oh, just not getting enough with the left hand to stabilise her height. Maybe struggling with the crimp there.
Having made short work of that first section, perhaps she'll have a good rest and then see if she can get back up there.
Okay, both of these athletes just chalking up and getting composed for their next attempts. Moreno. Oh wow, trying a different method here and jumping into the right-hand crimp in the centre of the wall. Oh, not quite enough energy rightwards there. She's going to have to step off and reapply herself. As the Swiss athlete Moreno jumps back on the wall for another attempt with 2.5 minutes remaining. Wow, yeah, he's really not sure about this. Oh, excellent. She's using the lower sloper to control herself here, Adela. Let's see if she can close this crimp and really make enough use of it to move her right hand higher onto the second of the two crimps. Yep, she's managed to do it in a dynamic fashion, but it's done nonetheless. And now she's in a fairly stable position, and she's deciding to try and put the splits in the wall as the French athlete did previously.
Yeah, so the flash to the zone was quite significant for her. That's put her into third place. It'd be great to see if she can top this boulder. Unfortunately, even with a top, it won't be enough to allow her to progress any further than third place.
Rafael Kurtsevakova's flash of women's 4 is looking incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Considering the dynamic nature and inconsistent nature of the start, followed by how hard it looks in those crimps to set up in a good fashion, with Adela here trying it.
Yeah, and great composure from Rafael as well to have a wobbly start with just a zone on the first two boulders, but then to come out and flash boulders 3 and 4. Not let the start get to her, but just keeping her composure and coming out and delivering.
Oh, Moreno looked good there in the upper section of this boulder. It looked like he had the timing to the right-hand crimp and to the palm on the volume in perfect synchronicity, but it wasn't to be. He didn't manage to maintain his position on the wall. That's surprising. It looked really good. Ah, yes. Repeating it now for the crowd.
Yeah, so she's yet to fall off that move.
No.
Third time up.
No, she had a...
Oh, she did have a...
Yeah,
one
prior to the last go, she just had a sort of half
apologies.
attempt. No.
Didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Do the finish.
Wow.
Oh, I thought she was in.
So trying to go again rather than crossing over the right hand. I mean, there's obviously a couple of ways to reach that final hold, but it does look like a hard one to hold. Okay, we're really closing in on the end of this competition now, as these athletes just vacate the mats. That is bringing our finals of today. This is being the third finals of the day. The under-17 categories. We first had the under-19s and we had the under-21s, and this has been the European Youth Championships here at Aerobia Climbing in Bergamo this May 2025. And we'll just take a look at the leaderboard, where Paula Meyer-Vorfelder dominated the women's competition with 3 tops and a zone, securing herself the win with 84.4 points, followed by Rafael Kazbakova from Ukraine in second, then Adela Botanaska in third from Czech Republic, Eva Skulek from Slovenia in fourth, Ida Stapelberg from Germany in fifth, Jakoba Rauter from Austria in sixth, Elisa Stringo from Germany in seventh, and finally Olivia Kistmacher from Germany in eighth. So the German athletes topping and bottoming our our women's leaderboard. And as we move over to the men, we have an excellent performance. The only athlete with 3 tops, Mayan Bauer, taking first position from Israel, followed by one of his compatriots, Itamar Harel, also from Israel, in second. Then we have Adrian Katan from Austria in third, Mati Azizi from Israel in fourth, Aristide Alaparts from France in fifth, Yvan Lemangere from France in sixth, and Javier Sekiam from Great Britain in seventh, and finally Moreno Gigliardi from Switzerland with some valiant efforts on the last boulder, finishing up our leaderboard in eighth. Well, you can see our organising partners there, and I would like to offer a very, very significant thank you to the team here at Aerobia Climbing. It's been a competition that has been in preparation for many weeks, but the team started with the physical preparations here last Saturday, and we are now on Sunday the 18th of May, so they've been in the building for 9 days on the trot, putting together this beautiful event that we've managed to enjoy here with not a single hiccup. So yeah, thanks to the team here at Aerobia Climbing, thanks to FASI, the Italian Federation of Sport Climbing, here for their organisational capabilities. And then we've had an excellent digital media team on hand, both in-house at Aerobia and the Out There Collective based in Modena. So any of the imagery that you see on the FASI Flickr channel, if you would like to look back at any of the images from this competition, will be from the gentlemen of the Out There Collective in Modena. So do go and enjoy some of those photos. If you're part of the team and you want a memento, you could take one of those photos away into your computer's memory banks for a rainy day when you're not climbing so well. And we will switch the podium now as it gets assembled in front of the competition wall here at Bergamo.
Yeah, and
okay, so we've had an excellent digital media team working on this competition, and we will be able to look at some highlights from the competition in due course.
props to the route setters. Great set of boulders throughout. Team led by Andy Matuza, and obviously they can't work without the right materials, so big thanks to Appiano Distribution Studio for providing amazing shapes throughout the competition. Great range of holds.
Thanks to you, Alex.
Okay, so this replay of Javier on men's #1, possibly the most comfortable looking flash of that slab.
Yeah, that was excellent, wasn't it? You
Yeah,
know, that really set the tone, but
made us think that boulder would be too easy.
Yeah,
but absolutely wasn't.
Yeah, and I thought he might have a stronger finish to the competition, just placing in 7th, unfortunately. But yeah, he can be really proud of that flash, and he did score on 2 of the other boulders, so he's obviously a capable athlete and one to watch. Here we have Mattia Zizi on men's 1 as well with his flash. So that was the 2 flashes of that boulder. And there's Javi. Is this one of his attempts? Yeah, this is where he made better progress before dropping this move here to the zone hold. That's unfortunate for him, but no score there has cost him actually.
Yeah, I can see how that move is done. And then this dynamic move rightwards, followed by a little pop to the mini jug.
Yeah, that was a beautiful top from Evan Lemongier. So that was the only top for him of the competition. Did it on his 5th attempt. And from that point onwards, yeah, just didn't manage to find that same form.
This is the top of women's #3. So the boulder that saw the most number of tops, I think, in the women's field. And then this is the only top on women's #1.
And it looked comfortable, did it not?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Strong fingers.
Yep. Really strong fingers from the German athlete. No surprise. Maybe she's no stranger to the German limestone.
Javier making really good progress here in the roof, just unable to stick that move. Again, a hard boulder that upset a lot of the athletes.
Wow, look at that flag from the Ukrainian athlete. Really impressive strength to hold that and in relative control. Flying the flag for her country. Beautiful top. Another attempt on men's 1 here. And this is the one which was successful. This athlete had a prior attempt which was denied by that very position, but he managed to find it there again with enough time left on the clock, and with a leg tremble he closed the boulder. Yeah, very competent. Yeah. More excellent work in this women's 3. Wow, no hands using the knee bar. I didn't notice that during the competition when it was live. So managing to find such a solid knee bar that she could take both hands off the wall to place the match. Very confident top there. And one of her compatriots just struggling with this body position before finding the right position to match. A little bit more risky than the knee bar, but obviously that knee bar is not going to fit everyone. And when you're on the climb, you can't adapt anything. And then, yeah, great top here. I mean, we're seeing the way to close that boulder, aren't we? And we saw a couple of really valiant attempts later on in the competition that just weren't to be. Really frustrating. Would have liked to have seen a couple of exciting finishes on that boulder towards the dying stages of the competition.
Okay, so we can sort of hear in the background a little bit as we're starting to set up for the podium. So we will be showing you coverage of that as soon as it is ready. The technical team just showing these replays whilst everything is being set up.
I'd like to take an opportunity to thank my sponsors, or thank the competition sponsors: Artline, Blocks, Blue Pill, Core Climbing, Contact, eSpace, Grizzly, Morpho, Unit, and Vezi. Without your materials, we couldn't have made this happen. So thanks to all of you who work diligently behind those brands to create beautiful shapes for these route setters to work with, and ultimately for these athletes to climb on. As we see this athlete top in the combined Vezi Grizzly boulder. Nice. Nice work across there from the Israeli athlete, Mattia Zizi, but not finding a top on that occasion. Oh, and then just catching the top there from one of his compatriots, the competition leader, Mayan Bauer from Israel. He couldn't find a top on men's 4, but he secured that top on men's 3 after only 2 attempts. Yeah, interesting spread of success for the athletes, you know. Athletes placing in 3rd and 5th respectively, managing to close that last boulder. And it's Itamar Harel who placed in 2nd, but Mayan just not managing to close that last boulder, unfortunately. I thought we might see a pure success from him across all 4 boulders, you know, but it just wasn't to be.
So I think the podiums are very nearly ready.
I think at this point Alex and I might sign off. We are very grateful for you watching this competition, and we can't thank you enough for joining us and bearing with us. And yeah, Alex, thanks for joining me here in Bergamo. I am really pleased to have had the opportunity to commentate with you. We've been climbing partners for many years, and I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, thanks for having me here. It's been great.
My pleasure. And yeah, you can see the audience gathering for the podiums there, and we will hand over to Simone Reina in due course, who will announce the athletes, I believe, from all age categories. So this could well be the podium for under-19s, under-21s, and this under-17s category. But that remains to be seen, and I'm sure you guys who are staying tuned will find out in due course. I've been James Blay of Appiano Distribution Studio. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay, guys, so we're ready. So, ladies and gentlemen, finally here we are to the ceremony award of that European Youth Championships. Before to proceed, I just want to say thank you for everybody that have been here. Thank you to the International Federation of Sport Climbing. Thank you to all the staff from the Italian Federation of Sport Climbing, to all the people from Orobia, to all the judges, to everybody that have collaborated in order to organize these events, to all the technicians that set up the music, to the DJ, to the sanitary people that have permitted us to perform this event. Once I say that the sports is the moment in which everybody we are united as one. And we are in a really beautiful world, but at the same time, we are in a really complicated world. So I just want to ask an applause that could be a message to be united as one all over the world. So let's start with the ceremony award for the under 17 female category. Please make an applause for the medalist. So, ladies and gentlemen, third place and the bronze medalist for the European Youth Championships Curno 2025, representing Czech Republic, Adela Bodanska. Premia Davide Manzoni, consigliere federale Fasi. And so, second place, silver medalist for the European Youth Championships Curno 2025, ladies and gentlemen, representing Ukraine, Rafael Kazbekova. Premia Zoe Springs, General Secretary for the EFC Europe. And so, ladies and gentlemen, first place, gold medalist and new European Youth Champion under 17 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Germany, Paula Mayer-Warfelder. Premia Davide Battistella, Presidente della Federazione Arrampicata Italiana. Sportiva italiana. And now, please everybody raise up for the national anthem of Germany. the female under-17 medalist for the European Youth Championship 2025. So, step up, smile, pictures, and let's go. Thank you, ladies. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with that applause, we can welcome in the stadium the medalist for the male under-17 category. So, ladies and gentlemen, third place and bronze medalist for the European Youth Championship 2025 Curno, representing Austria, Adrian Catan. Premia Francesco Berlendis, responsabile del gruppo sportivo dell'esercito. And so, second place, silver medalist for the European Youth Championship 2025 Curno, representing Israel, Itmar Arel. Premia Davide Battistella, presidente della Federazione Arrampicata Sportiva Italiana. And so, ladies and gentlemen, first place, gold medalist winner and new European Youth Champion under-17 category, representing Israel, Mayan Bauer. Premia Zoo Springs, General Secretary, EFC Europe. And so please everybody stand up for the national anthem of Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, the medalist for the European Youth Championship under-17 category. Thank you, guys. And so, we can step up with the next category. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in the stadium the medalist for the under-19 female category. Applauso. So, ladies and gentlemen, third place and bronze medalist for the European Youth Championship Curno 2025, representing Israel, Alma Sapir Halevi. Premia Francesco Berlendis, responsabile del gruppo sportivo dell'esercito. And then, second place and silver medalist for the European Youth Championship Curno 2025, ladies and gentlemen, representing Israel, Tamar Cohen. Premia Zoe Springs, General Secretary, EFC Europe. And so, ladies and gentlemen, first place, gold medalist, winner, and new European Youth Champion, under 19 category 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Spain, Delia Macia Martin. Premia Davide Battistella, presidente della Federazione Arrampicata Sportiva Italiana. And so please, everybody, stand up for the national anthem of Spain. Ladies and gentlemen, the medalist for the European Youth Championship under 19 2025. Thank you, ladies. And so let's go on with the under 19 male category. Please everybody, welcome in the stadium the medalist for the 19 male category. Applauso, applauso, dai pubblico, sopravvivete fino alla fine. And so, ladies and gentlemen, third place and bronze medalist at the European Youth Championships Curno 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Italy, Matteo Reusa. Premia Davide Battistella, presidente della Federazione Arrampicata Sportiva Italiana. Second place and the silver medalist for the European Youth Championship Curno 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Czech Republic, Lukas Mokroluski. Premia Davide Manzoni, consigliere federale, Federazione Arrampicata Sportiva Italiana. And so, ladies and gentlemen, now here we are. First place, gold medalist, winner, and a new European Youth Champion under 19 category. Ladies and gentlemen, representing France, Samuel Richard. Premia Zoe Springs, General Secretary for the EFC Europe. And so, everybody please stand up for the national anthem of France. Ladies and gentlemen, the medalist for the European Youth Championships male under 19 category. Thank you, guys. And so we can go on with the last category, the under 2020, the under 21. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in the stadium the medalist for the female under 21 category. Applausi, applausi, noise. So, third place, bronze medalist for the European Youth Championships Curno 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Spain, Itziar Martinez Almendros. Premia Francesco Berlendis, responsabile del gruppo sportivo dell'Esercito. And so, second place and silver medalist and the European Youth Championship Curno 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Ukraine, Anastasia Kobec. Premia Zoe Springs, General Secretary for the EFC Europe. And so, ladies and gentlemen, first place, gold medalist, winner, and new European Youth Champion for the under 21 female category. Ladies and gentlemen, representing France, Lily Avriat. So please, everybody stand up for the national anthem of France. Ladies and gentlemen, the medalist for the female under 21 category at the European Youth Championship 2025. Thank you, ladies. And so we can go on with the last podium of the day. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in the stadium the medalist for the male under 21 category. So, third place and the bronze medalist for the European Youth Championship Curno 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Spain, Guillermo Peinado Franganillo. Premia Davide Manzoni, consigliere della Federazione Arrampicata Sportiva Italiana. Let's go on with the second place and the silver medalist for the European Youth Championship Curno 2025. ladies and gentlemen, representing Bulgaria, Nikolai Rusev. Premia Davide Battistella, presidente della Federazione Arrampicata Sportiva Italiana. And so, ladies and gentlemen, now here we are. First place, gold medalist and the winner and the new European Youth Champion under 21 category. Ladies and gentlemen, representing France, Arthur Rimolo. Premia Zoe Springs, General Secretary, UFC Europe. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please stand up for the national anthem of France. Ladies and gentlemen, the medalist for the male under 21 category at the European Youth Championship Curno 2025. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with that ceremony award, everything it's officially over. I just want to thank you again and again, all the organization that have done possible the execution of this event. Orobia, that hosted the events, Federazione Arrampicata Sportiva Italiana, and EFC to give us the opportunity to bring this European Cup here in Italy. I want to thank all the people from Keep Live, that are the staff that allowed you to leave the streaming at home, out there collective for the media. Obviously, my brother behind the console, Andrea Ciscato, and all the judge and the technician, the federation that work for that. Congratulations to the new European champion, and see you to the next. Bye.